anniversary of MinkLife Motivation Live. Yes, right. Today, 3 years ago, we launched this show, and I'm excited for us to dive into the topic today. Today's moderator is actually one of the first guests on the show, so this is a very special treat. Let's get this party started.
Hello everyone. My name is Irina Strunina, and this is MinkLife Motivation Live. And yes, what Monica said, I was one of the first guests on this show 3 years ago. So let's talk about the spirit animal. Are you struggling with balance in your life? This is the conversation that we are starting today with our guests, Karen and Denise. And I also wanted to mention, we have also co-hosts on the show. So if you are watching it, co-host on the couch, please type your thoughts, ideas, comments, anything, questions. We are going to read it all and answer it and voice it. So participate in our show, be an active listener. So back to our questions. First of all, I would like to invite Karen to introduce herself, and then Denise, introduce yourself, so we could go with the knowing who is speaking it.
Okay, well, I'm Karen Bashford. I'm a soul healer and change facilitator. I basically work with women who are stuck, ready to make change, don't necessarily know what change they want to make. I'm psychic. I am able to see the future for you and then help you heal the past. So that's me, and I love what I do.
Thank you, Karen. And Denise, by the way, Denise was hosting this show for almost the entire season. So today I'm honored to actually interview her, and so to have her as a co-host.
It's nice to change seats, you know. Yeah. And I'm Denise Belisle. I'm a 780 expert. And I had a big smile when Karen was talking about what she does, because when I work with my people, I say things, it's all good. And I tell people that you can't change the future and you can't predict the future. You can change the past and you can't predict the future. And Karen, she said she can't tell me my future, so we'll have to have a conversation and see what will come out of that. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much, everyone. And life is good. It's all good.
Excellent. Thank you. So now I'm Irina Strunina. I am health strategist, and I'm here to moderate this conversation. Let's go with the questions that we have prepared for our guests. Why you are passionate about helping people with their emotional balance using your zone of genius? I have two real experts on it, and I would like Denise to start, and then Karen will follow with her thoughts on it.
Thank you. It's very important when people want to have serenity in their life, when they want to have peace in their life, to be emotionally stable. And what does that mean? For me, it means that you are in control of your life. You are in control of your emotion. And that's what with my zone of genius, that's how I support people. I teach them that what you see in front of you is just one reality. It's just like if I want to see something else, and then I put different glasses, and then I see things differently. So that's exactly how that works with your mind. You can decide to not get upset in different situations. You can decide to not be angry, not to be fearful, not to, everything is a choice. And so the emotional balance and the stability in your life is a choice. because any situation that will arise, you can decide, do I want to be angry or do I want to be neutral? It's possible neutrality is good, or do I want to be happy? You can be both. You can be happy about a situation and then be sad about that situation. So while you're working on your stability, you're working on what you perceive and how you react to it. It's just like changing your glasses. It's just like being able to see life differently and say, oh, that's why that person doesn't get upset. So it's because they don't have the same glasses that I have. So you see life differently, and I teach you how to build your brain to build that into your life. So that's my zone of genius.
Absolutely. Thank you, Denise. And Karen, what about you? What will be your answer to this question?
Okay, my zone of genius is actually connecting you back to your soul and having that place of calmness where you constantly connect to your own intuition, you listen to your own inner guidance, and you listen to your own guides. And in doing so, you create an environment for yourself where you are calmly confident, knowing you're taking the actions you need to take without any other kind of interference. And when I say other kind of interference, I'm referring to the beliefs that you create from your past, those that you are constantly utilizing to create what you're creating in your reality now. And emotionally, your body stops reacting, in the sense of most of us make our decisions based on how we react emotionally. You have such a calm body, calm mind, that you just don't react in the same way. You give yourself space to breathe, and in making different choices, because you are in this calm space, life just flows. And personally, I just love being in that arena of calmness, of knowing that every decision I make, every choice I make is based upon what is right for me, taking into account everything that's going on around. And I just adore the consequences of being able to do that and seeing the results that the women I work with achieve because of that.
Absolutely.
She's
Thank
like the
you.
sister from another mother.
Yes. To me, I am listening, and it's like you creating such a message to everyone here, but you are repeating the same similar ideas, so people actually could resonate probably better with that. Hey, yo, this is one of our co-hosts from the couch. Thank you for joining us. And I wanted to say that I'm not expert on this spirituality, but I also one who is trying to help people to be happy, just to be happy. My personal observation is that when people are not feeling good, they cannot be completely happy because something hurts. So I'm helping people to start making changes, to believe that something is possible. And the first move they could do, the smart move, they could start working on their health. And once their health improved, everything else starts turning into the blooming garden. So, what is our next question we're going to talk about? So, let's get motivated with our 2 days focus. And why is have your spiritual practice important for professionals to thrive in your life and business? Why is have your spiritual practice important for professionals to thrive in your life and business? And Karen, let's start with you now.
Okay, so to me, spiritual practice doesn't mean meditation. I'm the world's worst for meditating. Try and get me to sit still, and I am literally like a fish flapping everywhere. I just cannot sit still. So for me, spiritual practice is literally coming back to my heart and listening to what my mind, body, and soul is communicating to me at any time, and being in this place of peace. So it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I am constantly calm. I have an app on my phone that tests stress levels. And the only time I get stressed is if I'm exercising. Would you believe it? Life in general is not stressful, and I am dealing with constant stress simply because I have to deal with a mother who's got dementia. But I'm not stressed. My body is totally calm and centered. So to me, to be a professional, to thrive in life and business, is to have this center of calmness where you're not thrown out of sync because somebody says something or something happens that stops you from really being centered. It makes no difference. You remain centered. And for me, that's the best place to be. This calm, centered feeling that's constant. And it's just phenomenal.
All right, being centered. I just wanted to quote Denise, but I think she can do it herself when she's answering this question. Why is have your spiritual practice important for professionals to thrive in your life and your business?
Thank you, Irina. I will go back a little bit to what to a sense of what Karen said. Like spiritual practice is something different for everyone. It doesn't have to be religious. It doesn't have to be sitting down in a lotus form and meditating 10 hours a day. It all something individual, and it could be either one of them that I just mentioned or more. For me, I often believe that my brain is so powerful that whatever is going on in there, that's what's going to happen moving forward in my life. So that's how I predict my future, is my thought will dictate my words and it will dictate my action. So for me, having a spiritual practice is building mindfulness. And mindfulness is just being aware of what's around you, being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your surrounding, being aware of what other people are saying and how does that affect you internally and why does it affect you. Being aware of when you interact with your clients, how does that land? If it doesn't land properly, then be aware that that's not working. So review that and try another technique, try another way. So the way I would express the spiritual practice, why is it important for professional to thrive, is for me is if you were just to start to build awareness around your thought, your word, your action, and the action and the words and the, you can't know the thought of other people, but be aware what's going on around you. And when you do that, you will raise yourself to a different level. You will listen better. You will, in coaching, we call that like listening to level 3, which means you're totally aligned with the other person. You're not thinking about, oh, what am I going to answer when after she talks? Oh, yeah. And last time, she talks about she had a problem with her husband. Oh, yeah, I remember last time I had problem with my husband. And now you're not listening, right? So when you are in level 3, when you are at alert awareness of what's going on around you, listening to other people, that will raise your level of spirituality in connection with yourself, but everybody else around you.
All right. So be centered and be aware. And we have also the comment from our Facebook user, co-host on the couch. Spiritual practice is for emotions like exercise is for the body. It makes you stronger.
I love that.
Yes, definitely. And I, for myself, I am, as I said, I am more about actions rather than uh, focusing on spiritual health. But at the same time, just had a show where we were talking about the importance of the stress control, stress management. So this is something that also helps, I think, for those who knows how to manage their stress, how to uh, practice those, whatever it is. It may be meditation, it may be a breathing exercise, it may be just uh, the importance of and the art of doing nothing and just be calm. So whatever it is, whatever helps you to get back to center, get aware of what is going on around you so you could actually take actions and be resultative, productive on your actions. Well, let's stay inspired. How has not having great coping skills been a problem for you in the past, and how did you overcome it? So, what challenges did you have? Denise, how about you?
Oh, thank you. Just so you know, I have not always been this way. I have not always been this way. Things have progressed over the years, and you don't, you're not born serene. And like Karen and I are talking about, like stress doesn't affect us and things like that. You grow into it. And it has been a problem for me in the past. If I go back 30 years, at that time I had only 10 years of meditation under my belt, and I was on the right path, but I would still get angry and snappy at people, and not being happy in my skin, and still having to develop and find who I am. and and one day I attend one of the seminar, and they were talking about emotional intelligence. And when I discover emotional intelligence, it was life changing for me. It didn't change overnight, but I started to make amazing progression into my life in recognizing my emotion, recognizing what's going on. Why do I get angry? What's my influence? How does that work for me? Why are people angry? Can I recognize whenever they are angry or happy or different emotion? And that's what emotional intelligence does, is allow us to have better communication with the other people, so that we hear them better, we understand them better, and then we understand ourselves better. But the number one thing that I can say that actually changed my life is, at that time, I became 100% responsible for what happened to me. So no more. I don't think any of you here, which I've been hanging around for a while, have heard me say it's not my fault. I don't say that anymore. It's not in my vocabulary. Whatever happened, I take responsibilities. If I had a mishap, broke my ankle, or this and that, it's my fault. Like, there's different circumstances in my life that led me, that taking some choices that led me in a situation that led to an outcome. But I'm responsible for the path I'm walking, and I'm responsible for the emotion I have. I don't blame Joe for making me hungry. That's his fault. He made me angry. No, that doesn't work like that. I'm in charge. If I get angry, I let myself become angry. Nobody makes me angry. So that was a big shift in my life, from being someone that was being triggered, someone that would snap, someone that would be nasty to other people, to taking responsibilities. And now I made a huge changes in the way I live my life, because I feel that I can't blame anybody else, so I may as well move on and be happy.
That's right. That's right. So meditation was not doing it for you until you learned that trick. Really
Yeah.
taking responsibilities for your actions
Like I hate to know how I would have been if I didn't meditate at that time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It did help. I don't say meditation doesn't help, but I was still getting snappy and angry and all that. So, but taking responsibility for my life, then it allowed me to make those changes.
Empowered you. Empowered
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So, Karen, what would be your take on this? How has not having great coping skill been a problem for you, and how you overcame?
Okay, well, Denise made a very relevant point. It's being responsible for your actions, knowing that you are the creator of your life. It took me a long time to realize that part of my problem was I did not know how to love myself. I certainly didn't trust myself. So, consequently, the actions I took were always I wasn't good enough, I shouldn't be doing this, or I should be doing this. I know that I landed up in two abusive relationships because my parents were unable to tell me they loved me or hug me. So consequently, I was missing love in my life. And as a child, you have to have that love. You have to have that confirmation through touch and through affirmations, as much as through the actions your parents take, that you are loved. And my coping mechanism was finding somebody who could give me that same love that I knew already, even though it wasn't the right kind of love. And once I'd realized that my body was telling me that I had to get out of the relationship I was in, after 16 years, it was like this massive wake up call that I was physically ill due to the fact I'd been ignoring my body's warnings. And the love I was receiving was not the kind of love that I wanted or needed. So it was a case of, what do I do now? And that's what started me on my journey of being a soulful healer, of making changes at such a deep level for myself, that made all the difference. It is recognizing that you have to have love, and the love you have to have has to start with you. And that's part of responsibility. And when you discover that you can love yourself, regardless of your size, what's going on in your health, what you believe about yourself, everything comes back to love. And when you start to love yourself, you start to realize that your actions are the creator of your outcomes, your reality. Discovering that you can change that is phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. And the day that I realized I could manifest something different was huge. It was like this big moment of, oh, really? Kind of feeling to it, that excitement, at the same time slightly shocked that in changing how I felt through changing my thoughts, I created a totally different outcome. And that to me was the start of learning to truly love myself and truly trust myself, and in realizing that the universe never lets you down. The only person who lets you down is yourself. That made a huge, huge difference.
All right. Well, I'm listening to both of you and kind of like, okay, what about me? Because for the way how I was brought up, really the whole thing was like, suck it up. Everything, whatever happens, just like who you are to complain. You have this, and that, and people somewhere else are suffering from that. You know this. There are some people who cannot eat what you have on your plate. There are some people who would give everything to have the living arrangements that you have and things like that, or the shoes that you are wearing. So suck it up. And I was doing it pretty well. I was controlling my emotions and would not let it go. so people even were saying that, look, you always are calm and you are not overreacting, but that was at expense of my personal, like, not believing into the fact that I deserve, as Karen said, love, that I am actually in charge of what I am doing, because everything is, for me, was directed from by somebody else. Uh, and only when I started working with actually MinkLife motivation people and Denise and Monica and other people, they brought it to my attention that I have to pay more attention to myself. I have to love more myself. I have to, um, even though I didn't blame much people around me, and I was thankful for everything that is happening, but at the same time, I actually can create for myself the situations that I also will benefit, not just people around me who I care for, but me. It will be beneficial for myself because I deserve it too. Wow. Monica just commented saying, I got curious about was what would happen if I decided to try something different. I can choose not to let it affect me. That's her answer to this question. How's not having great coping
Yeah.
skills being a problem for you?
Yeah, I agree with that because, like, we can always choose how we want to react. It's a choice. Some people think, I can't help it. That's how I am.
Yes,
And that's a big fat lie that we're telling ourselves. We have the choice to react differently. But first of all, you have to take responsibility for the fact that you react a certain way. And then you say, okay, I'm responsible for that reaction. How can I choose another path? How can I choose to do something different? So it's a process. It's not something that happened overnight,
definitely.
but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Very possible. Very, very possible. And in knowing yourself, you can discover all the little things that you do automatically that stop you from taking the actions that are better for you, that no longer exist because you're no longer listening to the previous stories you were telling yourself. So,
Mhm.
yes, it does make a huge difference to what you produce in your reality. Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, are we ready for the next part of our questionnaire? Keep networking. Who should you ask for help when you are trying to improve your emotional balance? Karen, let's go with you first.
Okay, certainly not the toxic people in your life, that's for sure. Um, somebody who's willing to listen, but not necessarily try and give you advice.
Mm-hmm.
A coach is brilliant simply because they will ask the questions and let you get the answers. However, it doesn't have to be a coach, it can just be somebody who's willing to just be there for you and let you talk. Because sometimes that's all you need to do is to just talk what's going on for you to get an answer. Because
Exactly.
every answer is inside. You just
Mhm.
need to get it out of here and out of here to the big wide world to find what the answer really is for yourself. So just somebody who's prepared to just allow you to talk is brilliant. But obviously a coach or anyone who is on that path themselves, who can share experiences, that always helps. I personally love to be able to chat with people who are on the journey, who can give me better insights into things that will give me a different take on something that perhaps, I think this, but if I hear something different, it changes my perspective. So it opens me up to so much more. And I think that is so, so important.
All right. Denise, what will be your answer? Who should you ask for help when you are trying to improve your emotional balance?
You have to find a community of people, even if it's just a couple of girlfriends, or like MinkLife Motivation, where we hang out from time to time, where I met Monica and Irina, and a place where you can be yourself and be authentic without feeling afraid to being judged or put down. Often people just zip it because they have expressed how they feel, and people either ridicule them or say, "Oh, suck it up," right? And just be quiet, and like there's worse than you. But in the end, like for you, when you experience those emotions, the worst is you, right? But being able to talk in an environment where you feel safe, whether, like Karen said, whether it's in a coach, with a mentor, with a friend, with a community like Mink Life, I feel that it's important to have that space where you can feel safe. And if you don't have it right now, if you're listening and say, "I have nobody," well, find out how you can come and join us at Mink Life, because we're here. We're here for you. We're here to support you and listen to you and see how, I have my ears, I can support you. I have, my heart, and I can feel you. And what you have to say is very important. So don't be afraid to speak up and to share the things you need to talk about.
Definitely. To summarize what you both said, I like this expression that I've heard from Les Brown, and it's hard to see the picture when you are in the frame. So if you lost your balance and you're trying to find it again, it's really hard to understand, to see what caused it, because you are so deep into those emotions, you're so deep into this challenge, everything looks catastrophic. So when you're hanging out with people who can, from the outside, look at you and say, "Hey, everything is not that bad.
Mhm, mhm.
Everything is is manageable. You making it bigger than it is." So some people who
Yeah.
you trust, those are the people who I personally prefer to hang out. And I'm so thankful for technologies, for other people, that eventually my paths came to this Zoom space with people from MinkLife, that I didn't have that community for me, and now I have. And yes, Monica said Mink Life are the best, and I agree with that completely. This is where I'm hanging out for 3 years already, and I hope that communication, this, first of all, that technology will not fail, and we will continue having this option, and seeing those people like Karen, like Denise, and Monica, and others. So that's for me exactly the same. Find the community, find the people who will help you
Mhm.
to recognize that things are not catastrophic. There's one thing that you can do. You can breathe.
Yeah, one exercise I like people to do before we go to the last one is see yourself 10, 15 years down the
Yes,
road, right? Like imagine yourself like as an elder, if you're 80, 90 years old, who knows? And then you look at that situation today and ask yourself, is it really that bad? And if you have a difficulty doing that, then go in your past and look at somewhere, sometime where life was really hard and you thought that the world was going to end. And now ask yourself, was that bad? What did I grow? And it's all good. You move on, and life is good, and life is okay. So often we lost the perspective of where we are and our atomic bomb, as opposed to really is just the firecrackers, right?
yes,
We are blinded. We're wearing those blind that stop us from seeing the true reality of our roller coasters. But in the end, it's just a speed bump in the road when you think about it.
definitely.
So it makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally. Okay, gain knowledge. What is one tip for calibrating your life by focusing on your spiritual practice? And Denise, since you're already talking, let's just go with you.
Thank you. Um, One tip, I would say, know what you want out of life. Let's go this way. Decide, like, introspect, like, ask yourself, what do I want my life to be like? What is my goal? What do I want to create in life? What do I want to have in the future? How can I be like Karen's going to do for me soon? Because I'll have a call with her to tell me what my future is going to be like. So, how can you predict your own future? But just by living what you want to experience. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to have the amazing job? Do you want to have the perfect partner? So, when you're able to live your life and choose where you want to go, you, even if it's like 1 centimeters at a time, a quarter inch at a time, take your shovel and dig your path. But once you know where you want to go, and slowly you build your path and you move in that direction, that will make a huge difference in your life, because you have a purpose, you have a direction, you have a mission in your life, and that's going to support you into moving in that direction.
All right. So, okay, Karen, what would be your one tip for calibrating your life by
Okay,
focusing?
mine's probably going to be slightly different to what most people would expect, but my one tip for calibrating your life is to ensure you're hydrated. We, as busy people, tend to forget that we're made up of 70% of water, and your body, to practice any kind of focus, has to be hydrated. If you're underhydrated, your brain does not work properly. Your body can't function in the way it needs to. So for me, one of the things I always tell clients is, are you, or ask the question, are you drinking enough water? In doing so, you create a far better body mind connection. You are more capable of focus, you sleep better, you actually feel better because your body is functioning effectively. And I discovered the practice of ensuring I drank enough when, having had bladder cancer, my bladder has a tendency to tell me off if I don't drink enough. And I realized that when I did drink enough, everything worked so much better for me. I was able to work smarter. I was certainly, sorry, my cat's interfering. I was certainly able to get better results, and it just made life easier. And that's what, to me, is all about spiritual practice, is to have an easier life, not to have to work hard and to struggle, but to be in that place of centered calmness. It makes such a difference. And hydration is part of that.
Absolutely. As Monica said, drink water religiously, right? Well, I have to say that for me, spiritual practice for me happens very often when I am on the move, meaning not traveling, although that works beautifully, but even just taking a walk around the um, corner where I live. When I'm moving, it helps me to my breathing gets in order, my blood flow gets in order. I try to drink before I go for a move for a walk, so I think I am hydrated, and that helps me just make the physical exercise. And I know that some people do the meditation and some people do the whatever practice they use, the yoga or something like that. But just switch the activity. If you were thinking hard, do some physical activity. If you was working hard physically, just slow down and breathe. So make this change, and that helps very often to refocus and find your balance there. That's how I look at it. So we came to the very exciting part of our show. These are the announcements. And Denise, do you have anything to share with our listeners? How we can connect with you?
Absolutely. Thank you. I have been working for the last little while with empty nesters because I found that empty nesters, when the kids leave the house, all of a sudden they find themselves lost. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know who their identity is. And so I've created an ultimate guide for empty nesters in order to, it's a 10 tips process that guides you into what can you do once the kids leave the house and how to prepare yourself. And that's good if your kids are soon to be leaving the house. So this way you can prepare yourself. I call that having an exit strategy for becoming from being full-time parents. So your exit strategy from being a full-time parent. So it's super exciting for you to download that, and then we'll have a chat afterwards.
Great. Thank you, Denise. And Karen, what about you?
Well, I'm happy to offer a 30-minute call with me. Generally, if you have a conversation with me, something changes. I'm able to pick up on things that perhaps you have not been aware of, or simply just help you understand better what's going on in your life and why it's happening. The call is complimentary, there's no charge for it. But in the process, you start to see that life can be different, and there's no reason why you can't personally make changes in whatever way is appropriate for you to live a calm, centered life. And that's what we're here for, to be calm and centered and to be happy and enjoy the life that we're living. We have one life, and I very much believe that if you make the most of your life, those around you will always benefit, especially future generations, because you teach your children to live differently. And that to me is so, so important, because the future generation are what's going to keep humankind going. So, yeah, offer a 30-minute call. More than welcome to take advantage of it.
Excellent. Thank you, Karen. Well, as for myself, I am health strategist, and we are talking about how one can make change in your life, what smart move you could make. And to connect with me and have this conversation, you go to smartmove360.com and book a call with me, and we'll see how we can help each other to make that smart move. So, what do we do for the yes?
So Karen, oh, too bad. We're going there. I'll be back later.
All right. Mingle announcements. And who is making those announcements?
Monica, we can't hear you. We want to welcome everybody, and we are excited about what is going on in the MinkLife motivation world. If you want to be on this show, if you want to be a guest, not just a guest on the couch, but if you actually want to sit on the screen and be a guest, go to minklifemotivation.com/live and join us. We would love to hear what your zone of genius is and how you look at your world. And if you love the show and you just don't have time to sit down and watch the video, catch the podcast. It is anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. So, Monica, I think Monica might be back. Maybe not. Anyway, there we are.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. So, Peggy did a fantastic job. The only other thing I would say is, if you are interested in watching the show, we are here every Wednesday and Thursday. So tune in right where you're watching it now so that you can be a part of the show as well. Back to you, Irina. Teamwork makes the dream work. Look at that.
Absolutely. I love this MinkLife community, and I also wanted to thank our guests today, Denise and Karen, for joining me on our show. This is our third 3 years anniversary, and I am glad that you were able to join me, join us, and have this wonderful conversation. This is so cool that we were able to do that.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. And it was a pleasure meeting